Yep, that's him, Amass. Lee Amass. The white South African. He might be useful. He might be a bit useful. He's very tall. Presumably Jewish.
Gentlemen, please. To continue the program, ladies and gentlemen, this is a lightweight contest of 6 3-minute rounds, a match made at 9 stones, 12 pounds. Introducing in this corner, ladies and gentlemen, from South Africa, Grant Messias. And from Gravesend, ladies and gentlemen, Lee Amass. At the weigh-in today, Messias scaled 9 stones, 8 pounds. Amass, 9 stones, 8.5 pounds. The referee for this contest, Mr. Reg Thompson. Timekeeper, Mr. Tom Powell.
Well, it's some time since we've had the pleasure of seeing a white South African boxer in action in London, but here's Grant Messias against an up-and-coming young British boy, Lee Amass, from Gravesend in Kent. Amass is a southpaw, and he knows that Messias comes here with the reputation of being quite a good puncher. We've heard about Messias' knockout reputation. I hope Amass is well prepared for it. Messias from Johannesburg already putting Amass under a lot of pressure in this opening few seconds. He's showing himself to be a rather determined young man, and if Amass doesn't tighten his defences, this won't go too far. Grant Messias, only 20, born in Johannesburg, comes here with a record of 6 wins and 1 draw in his 7 pro fights. And all 6 wins, we're told, have been on knockout. And he's going for another one here. Messias in the white trunks, the Star of David. Well, Amass is 22. He's had 8 wins and 1 defeat in his professional career so far, and was a pretty well-known amateur before that. And already he's cut. Lee Amass is cut on the left eye. So the South African finds early success, and his right hand as well as his left. Not doing Amass too much good. Amass trying to fight back under this barrage of punches. I'm not sure that's the right thing. You should be trying to box him. And Messias walking through whatever Amass has to offer. He's taller, he's got more reach, and he's a ruthless young man. Just over 30 seconds of this first round remaining, scheduled for 6 rounds. Well, it's a pretty impressive debut by Messias in London. He's been telling us about his knockout record, and I think he wants to prove it to us. Well, Amass is going back to his corner for a bit of treatment now on that left eye, which is cut. Gary Davidson, his manager, working on it, former boxer himself. And And that looks in a rather dangerous position. On the eyelid. That'll be difficult to staunch the bleeding in that position. So unless Amass can do something to get this over quickly, his chances of going 6 rounds are pretty slim. And Davidson working very hard to staunch the flow of blood, but that'll be a very difficult task. Let's have a look at Messias. Here's an interesting young man, 20 years old, 6 wins and a draw so far. And as an amateur, we're told he had 19 inside the distance wins in his last year. Second round of this lightweight contest, scheduled for 6 3-minute rounds. Messias scaled 9 stone 8 pounds at the weigh-in today, and Amass was half a pound heavier. And Amass has come out for the second, determined to punch it out with Messias, the South African in the white trunks. Man from Johannesburg. Amass is getting through. This is interesting. He's determined to take this to Messias. And just now and again, it looks as though it might even pay off. He's forcing Messias back. And the South African has thrown a lot into this first round and a half. And Amass is still there, despite the cut. And beginning to find the target, the head and body. That was a big punch from Messias. And just as Amass looked as though he was getting places, so once again the South African turns the tables on him. Messias is one of the most free-swinging punchers we've seen in our London rings for some time. He comes to fight, and he doesn't care too much about defence, or he does occasionally cup his gloves up around his head, but he likes to throw them, and he's not difficult to hit when he does. Three, four, 5 good punches there. And another barrage could be weakening. Half a minute to go in the second round. And Messias coming on strongly again. And rather low-looking right hand from Messias. Reg Thompson, the referee, tells him about it. And again, Amass comes back. This is some fight. On the stool as though he felt pretty weary after that little lot. A lot of leather was thrown in that second round. Well, he's an interesting young prospect, Messias. We can show some more of that action from the second round. A lot of good action here. What a good right hand that was. And at this point, he looked to have Amass in all sorts of trouble. This was about 20 seconds from the end of the round. Even then, Amass came back from this barrage. A lot of punches went through to the head from Messias there. But either his punching isn't as strong as it was rumoured, or Amass is showing extraordinary strength. No further damage to the cut. They seem to have coped with it. Lee Amass, Gravesend in Kent. Round 3. And it's been all action so far. Amass in the red trunks, Lee his Christian name on the waistband. And these two look determined to punch themselves to a standstill. The customers are loving it. This fight being used as a prelude to the big world flyweight title fight tonight between the champion, the IBF champion, Rolando Bohol from the Philippines, and Britain's Duke McKenzie, the European champion. And this is a good warm-up fight for the audience. Put them in the right mood for the big one. And again, he staggers Amass. Punches come at you from all angles. He's a tall lightweight, Messias. Pace just beginning to slow a little, which is hardly surprising, considering the speed at which they've gone. And Amass again at this point, giving as good as he's getting. Done a good job on that eye, it's not bled. Messias holding. Beginning to look a little tired now. Messias' arms are beginning to drop. And the punches are not coming quite as freely as they were. Maybe Amass will turn out to be the stronger. Both getting very tired. And we're only coming up to halfway through the scheduled 6. Well, Messias started with all the fury you could wish, but the storm might just be blowing itself out now. And of the two, this man looks the more tired. Grant Messias, the 20-year-old boy from Johannesburg, who toured Argentina with the Springbok amateur boxing squad and won both his contests on KO again, we're told, and was awarded the Springbok colours. Plays golf and has played at Sun City off a handicap of 18 and has boxed in Sun City 3 times. Still working on that eye, but Gary Davidson's done a good job with it, and it hasn't bled over the last round or so. So, round 4 coming up. Scheduled for 6, so we're just over halfway. Amass, Gravesend in the red trunks, southpaw. And the tall South African Grant Messias, 2 years younger, at 20. But looking very tired when he went to his stool at the end of the 3rd. Big, deep breath taken by Messias. And the sharper punching now is coming from Amass. Nobody could complain of lack of action. It's just possible now, as these two begin to tire, that this will go the full 6. Didn't look possible at one time. Doing a lot of lying on now on each other. Another sign of tiredness. Messias' arms are dropping all the time, looking to his corner. All the classic signs of tiredness. Round 4. That was a fair right hand from Amass. Amass holding. They wind up at the bell with fists pumping away. Interesting fight, because this man, Amass, looked at the start as though he might be swept away by the sheer fury of Messias' assault. But he survived it all. He survived the cut. And of the two, he looks the fresher to me. He's still got a bit left. One good right he threw, particularly in that last round, which I think we can show you again. It really was a cracking punch. There it was. Look at the way the chin was jerked sideways by the right hand. Done a wonderful job on keeping that cut under control. And they come out now for round 5. So the audience here in the Grand Hall at Wembley, just across the road from Wembley Stadium. This audience have enjoyed this fight. It's been a right old set to. And Grant Messias looked as though he was going to come out and have a sensational early win, but it didn't happen. And now he's got to get through these last 2 rounds looking very weary. Oh, he's got him. Well, he's been waiting for that for a long time. Terrific punch.
6, 7.
And Amass has done well to beat the count. Reg Thompson having a look into his eyes. He's letting him go on, but he might walk into another. Round 5, and it could be the end. Amass almost gone. He's got him again. So the KO specialist has done it. The man who came with the reputation as a big puncher has beaten him, and Amass is down there on his knees complaining that he should never be stopped. But I'm not so sure he'd have beaten the count anyway. And the referee's seen enough. So at a point when Messias was looking desperately tired, and I'm sure he was, he has produced a couple of cracking punches that have suddenly turned the contest back his way. Well, he's an interesting prospect, Grant Messias.
Gentlemen, please. After 1 minute, 5 seconds of round 5, ladies and gentlemen, the referee has stopped the contest to save Amass taking unnecessary punishment.
Well, let's have a look again here at what happened.
Messias is the winner.
Huge right hand. I think this is the end. It's not the original knockdown that caused all the trouble. This is the last one, when the referee waved it over. Been interesting to have seen the earlier punch that set him up for this. Well, he was never really going to come back from that, and although he protested about the fight being stopped, he was down there on his hands and knees. and it was time to call it a day. So 20-year-old Grant Messias, his debut in London, has made an impression here. Here's a good punch.